Ready for an adventure that welcomes everyone? Dive into Cache Odyssey. Cache Odyssey is 6 fully accessible GeoTours where every geocache is designed for everyone, regardless of their abilities. Each hidden cache tells a unique story, bringing people together on a journey of discovery. So, whether you're a seasoned geocacher or a new adventurer, get ready to experience the thrill like never before.
If you have not become a patron of the Geocache Talk Network, what are you waiting for? Patron levels start as low as a Bison Tube level at $3 a month. The sign up is easy. Simply go to the Geocache Talk website and click on the Become a Patron button, or go to patreon.com/Geocache Talk. Patrons now get the famous Blackout coin, invites to special events, and other really great items throughout the year. Become a patron today. Have you subscribed to FTF Magazine yet? FTF Magazine is the #1 geocaching magazine available. It is a quarterly magazine that you can be part of. Submit your geocaching milestones and adventures to be published. FTF Magazine is also interactive with puzzles to solve and the hunt to find Spartacus. If you can solve the puzzle or find Spartacus, then you will be entered in to win a special pack tag. Every new subscription, you will receive a special swag pack. Subscribing is easy. Just visit FTF's website, ftfgeo.com. Don't miss out and subscribe today.
Logwork, the creators of the fantastic logbook, made with genuine write-in-the-rain paper. The logbook's designed for the micro-containers of the present and future, geared towards the hider who'd rather go caching than doing cache maintenance. Find them at logwork.com. That's logwerk.com.
Calling all geocachers. At artedcrafted.com, we create unique apparel designed by geocachers for geocachers. From custom t-shirts to personalized mugs, our gear lets you express your passion. Stand out at your next event with artedcrafted.com. artedcrafted.com. Gear up for your next geocaching adventure.
Big thanks to our new patrons, Hawaiian Miley, Buzz82, and Captain Math. That can't be right. Oh, maybe it is. Thank you to all our patrons for keeping the show on the air. And we have a big show tonight. Let's bring everybody in right there. Hey, everybody.
Howdy.
Hey, our guest, Nancy's with us tonight. So thank you so much for being with us. Talk about Cache Odyssey. But first, let's do a couple things here. So in GTN geocaching news, a couple of items I wanted to mention as I was talking about the patrons, and we are so appreciative of all our patrons. Mm-hmm. Before the show started, I got a notification that, hey, we just paid one of our bills.
Hey, that's always good.
Yeah, that's always good. So one of the items that we use, as I pull the curtain back a little bit, one of the websites that we use quite a bit actually is called PicMonkey, PIC Monkey. It's for pictures, and we subscribe to that, and it really helps the show, especially items. Really for all three of us, but John, when you're creating, we have a couple different tools that we use. We use ChatGPT for some things, but we also use PicMonkey. And PicMonkey was very strategic, I guess you could say, for us making a lot of the Cache Odyssey items.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So we had quite a few items that we'd kind of rough it out, and then John, you would jump into PicMonkey like for the souvenirs and things, right?
Yeah, absolutely. PicMonkey's amazing because for us, a lot of times, it's almost like people know Adobe Photoshop. PicMonkey's almost like an online version of Adobe Photoshop that we use. So even for Cache Odyssey, we used it for creating all the different souvenirs out there. We use it for creating certain YouTube thumbnails. I use it for, creating all kinds of cool pictures out there. So even a lot of stuff you see on social media, probably a lot of that's created with PicMonkey, where we're using to combine a lot of different elements together onto that. And I think that's all I can say right now, because I can't spill the beans about anything that we can't disclose.
That's right.
Oh,
Give it time. We just came out with something big. Give it a little bit. Let's
okay.
gosh. I didn't know because he was spilling some beans and I was jumping in because I got several things I need to get off my chest.
Yeah, it's just January. Give it a break. We already started.
I got 2026 things I got to talk about. I've got
I got my finger on the button, Jesse. If we need to knock Gary out on this one,
we might have to at some point. But there's nothing close. There's nothing right now. It's all in the deep workshop right now. So there's nothing we have to talk about right now.
He started it. No, okay. All right. Okay. So another quick item on the news that I'm going to cover, and then John's got one, and that is Geo Woodstock XXI, also going to be called Gigastock. Don't tell anybody yet, but that's where we're headed. We have over 2,900 will attends. And so it's starting to look really hopeful that we're going to get to 3,000.
Gary, it's going to go to 3,000. No question.
If we get to 3,000, then little magical things happen.
It goes giga. It goes giga. Let's just say it. It's going to go to 3,000.
We can say it. Yes, it could go giga.
Go giga on here. And the big thing we got to put out here too, Gary, and maybe you want to talk about this one. But really, people should get their will attends in as soon as they can if they're thinking about going. Because after January 31st, I think there's a lot of cool items that are no longer available in their store that people may miss out on.
Yeah, that's a big one we want to mention tonight. It as the recording of the show, it is January 26th, and January 31st is the hard stop on the items in the store, including, and what I think is important is, for me, I thought it was very important, other than all the cool swag you're going to get, VIP parking.
Yes.
Because there won't be a lot of people there, and you want to have that, you want to be able to wave that VIP parking pass and get you right up in the front. So that's really important. Captain Math 05. What did he change his name? What's going on here? Somebody else, I guess, says who's going to start a pool to predict the day that it goes.
It'd be fun.
Kind of cool idea. So, okay, very cool. So, and I want to give Jesse a moment here in a second. So that's the latest. Don't forget, January 31st. You want to get your item, even if you just want to register and get like the lowest version of everything, that's fine too. You don't have to do VIP. I'm suggesting VIP, but you do you. But if you want to buy it, if you want to get anything, and we've always said, if you want to, maybe you just want the lunch, but or if you just want the VIP parking and you get the swag, give the swag away at events or anything. That's, do what you want with that. So there you go. We are a sponsor. We will be on stage for a couple of the hours at the event. So looking forward to that. We're going to have a Cache Odyssey time up on stage, and we'll also have Challenge Talk is going to be up there. So looking forward to that. So, all right, John, over to you.
Okay. Now, people probably have seen this already, and if you haven't seen this, you should look at it as soon as you can, because there's a new locationless cache available that's now live, that just came live on the 25th for the 25th anniversary on this one. And I'm going to put the GC code in the chat room on here. But this is a very cool one that we should all be aware of on this side, because really all you got to do on this one is get a photo of yourself or a personal item by an already existing 25. So I know some people have done like 25-mile-per-hour signs, but it should be a place where you can share the GPS coordinates. And it could be 25. It could be spelled out something in another language. It could be like, the word spelled out. So just to think of people to get creative, right? I know why I love this locationless cache is because this gives me a couple opportunities on this one. I don't know if you guys have thought about, but one up in beautiful West New York, it's nice and snowy and it's not great for getting out. So it could give you that cool calendar day find. Mm-hmm. The other thing is it could give you another icon if you want to go on an icon run. Like, I don't know about you guys, but imagine going to Gigastock and using location lists, Giga on that one, and then all other icons that you can get around there. You could do some pretty cool stuff. But on this one, the cache page, you got to do it in 2025 because January 1st, 2026, it goes away. So make sure you don't miss out on that one.
Absolutely. Well, let's get a quick update.
That, but I don't want to rush into it. Like in the past, I've kind of rushed into them and done them too soon.
Yeah, me too.
I want to hold it a little bit since I don't get to go to Gigastock. I'm going to really find a good 25, somewhere, and there was 25th anniversary block party t-shirts this weekend everywhere. I was like, oh, I could get it right now, but I didn't. I'm holding on.
Wait.
And I'm going to wait and find a really good. I don't even know where I'm going to find one yet, but I'm going to find one. So we'll get some too.
And people could get a lot of different pictures throughout the year, and then just choose the one you want. Like later on.
There's nothing that says you can't put more than one picture on it.
True.
Yeah, absolutely. So Nicole B Genius mentions, he says, talk about perfect timing. Just got back from a block party with one Cache Odyssey under my belt. Sounds familiar. Jesse, how was your weekend, my friend?
She just described it. Yeah, I just got back from block party like right before we started the night. I got my very first Cache Odyssey, which compared to some people on the panel tonight doesn't sound like anything, but it was my first one. I was super excited to get it. It was great. It was which again, it's a start. It's a start. But that was not really the block party. That was on the way to the block party. It's kind of kicking off the season this year. And on the way home from it, I found out that this is our best start up till this date in January ever for Cache.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
We were driving home, right? So Christy was digging through Project GC and she's like, oh, look at this. Look at this. And that was one of the stats that came up. But so this block party this weekend, so not a mega, right? I haven't attended a mega yet this year. This block party, it was great. They had it in this park. It's the 18th annual version of this event, but the first time it was a mega. In fact, the rumor was that 2 years ago, there's only about 30 people, and they decided, is this worth keep going? And now it hits like 500 people going, So
that's awesome.
400 and something will attends. And there was, I know already 300 people, over 300 people have already done their, attended on it. So there was a lot of people there. But it was all in a park, and obviously there was, the labs like there's every mega and you can kind of do it when you're standing around doing things. There was events all weekend, CETOs, community celebration events, the block party, the regular event, and but the park was great because there was everything in this park that you would want to do. There was even a 2001 cache in the park. The park was huge, and they did the poker runs and had. Somebody will know it in the chat room, but they had a dude come out that's a animal expert, and he had like a snake and an alligator that you could hold, and they had events, and they had so these caches. The majority of all of the physical caches I found this weekend were regular size or bigger.
Wow,
they were ammo cans or up to gadget caches that were a lot bigger. They're really creative. There was even an inner cache in the park, which you don't ever see those anymore. And it was fun, and people, it was spread out enough that even though we know there were hundreds of people there, and like for the picture, it got crowded, because you bring everybody into one of those spots. But other than that, people are spread out so much, like Shelby Farms. People are spread out so much that it didn't ever really feel Safari Todd. It didn't ever really feel crowded, and everybody was happy. There was kids there, which you want to see at big events. You always want to see some kids there, the next generation. Everybody was having fun, and there was enough stuff. You didn't have to leave the park at all the whole weekend.
Wow.
And we did because we wandered, and it does make it harder sometimes, even though it's spread out enough. It's hard to get gadget caches during a mega. We all know that. There's nothing you can do about that. There's too many people. But we went just right down the street, and it was the beach. So that's always a good thing. And we ventured out a little bit. So it was great. We got all kinds of fired up, and everybody was talking about Cache Odyssey. They were talking about Gigastock, and it was just a fun way to kick off the year. We got in these big conversations about like, what are your current goals? And I can stand there and talk for like 8 hours with somebody about like, what are you working on right now? And you always get surprised with people working on and stuff. And we could do a whole show about that, which we probably should again soon. But you know, when somebody says I'm working on Jasmer, you're like, okay, that sounds pretty good. But when somebody says like, I'm working on Jasmers of 2 terrain where goes that were hidden before 2005, you're like, okay, I got you. You're insane. Awesome.
Yes,
you're insane. I love hearing all those things of what people are working on, because it's some of them seem totally normal and some of them seem like ridiculously insane. But it's just the such different styles of caching, you know, like people are just it's that's what's fun, is really get all those, you know. Oh yeah, there was a human slot machine. There was all kinds of. We could spend a show talking about it, but it was great. They're going to do it again next year in the same park. I will definitely be there without a doubt next year. Dale and Barb, you know, host this. Space Coast. There was some cool swag out there and stuff too, and they did a great job. I mean, it was well run. There was no issues. It was a lot of fun. So it was a great way for me to get kicked off, get the year, you know, kicked off, because there's a couple of big events that we're going to be talking about that I don't get to go to, and you can get in a bummer mood with that, or you can just find another way to get excited. So awesome event. They did a great job. Dale and Barb, y'all did an awesome job. And it was a lot of people that helped them put it on and put on really awesome caches in the park. 2 or 3 of I really took tons of pictures of to completely steal. As soon as I find a spot to put them, but like some cool gadgets that were not totally hard to make, but were the presentation was just awesome on it. So I got some ideas out of it, but that's what you want. You want to come away from one of those like not like tired from the weekend, but like excited about stuff you want to do for the next month or two. So it was great. It was a great event.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. That's awesome. All right. Well, let's get into Cache Odyssey. So Nancy brings a interesting perspective, I think, because she owns one. Which one do you own, Nancy?
Maine.
She's got Maine. I have heard so many great things. And when they all published, not all, but I'll get into the update on that. But when the majority of them all published, one thing I noticed, and John, I think you noticed it, and Jesse, you probably did too, but it'd be like one find. Oh, look, somebody found that one. You look at Maine, it was like 13 finds. You're like, oh my gosh, what happened? Did you have like a party there? What happened, Nancy?
Yes, myself and Tennessee, Nathan, both had events.
Nathan. Yeah, that's awesome.
We had events to kick off our grand opening of the cache. And I think with that surge of 25, 30 people, of course, our numbers went up.
That is awesome. So we'll start with that, and then we'll talk about your tour. But when you were asked and tasked to make a Cache Odyssey, and finding out that it needed to be a one terrain, and needs to be large, it needs to be a letterbox hybrid, and what was your initial thought when you heard all of that?
I knew right away what I wanted to make, something related to lobsters, and because it's a letterbox theme, I wanted the lobster trap to look like a letterbox, so it has a little flag on it as well. And and I was going to make a gadget out of it, but I just couldn't get it to work with moving the flag and opening the door, and it just never worked, never engineered. But it came out as a very large cache. It's a very large lobster trap.
Cool. Yeah, Rick says he found the Maine Odyssey cache on Saturday. When I first saw the photos, I was like, this is incredibly awesome. It really was.
Thank you.
Yes. You did a great job, because, I didn't approach it like, hey, what can you make? And then, okay, you can now be a Cache Odyssey hider. It wasn't like that. It was you're the best person to make it. Go make something cool. And that was it. I didn't give anybody any other info. That's right. I mean, Jesse, we gave them needs to be a letterbox hybrid, needs to be large or regular. Could be regular or large.
Yeah.
If it was large, we had a little internal incentive that Charles is on. He's Pathfinder 33 was giving some incentive to people who make the large and not regular. Had to be terrain 1 and especially not only terrain 1 but wheelchair accessible. And what was the other thing we had? What was it?
Letterbox.
I guess that was it. Letterbox hybrid. Yeah. So so that was really which is tricky enough because if it's regular size at least and it is terrain 1, then you got to kind of think about where you want to put them. So anyway, very cool. So
I just want to add from the picture alone that Nancy did, if you could give favorite points without finding a cache, I would totally give hers a favorite point.
Sure. I haven't seen it in person yet either, and it looks awesome though.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
It looks awesome. So so you made that and everything was great. And now when did you make the decision? I mean, and then we talked about and we finally had to come to a decision on, no matter what we chose, and I know the CFO was not happy with how we did it, but we had to come up with an idea or conclusion of how to split up the whole country into 6 regions. Now, Maine, pretty obvious where it's going to be. The rest of the country, it was a little tricky. Now, and I'm so glad that Pathfinder 33, Charles, came up with the idea of splitting Northwest, Southwest, because that really made much more sense. But anyway, aside from all that, when did you make a decision that you were going to go, and it's behind you but for those that are listening to audio, she has her screen behind her of what she did to get all of the Northeast. When did you make the decision that I'm going to go find all the Northeast region?
Not until my 3rd trip.
Okay.
Yeah, the first trip was right after my event, and obviously I had visited the main one. And then my husband and I looked at each other and we said, oh, it's only an hour and a half down to Rochester, New Hampshire. So we went down there after my event. And then after that, it was like, oh, it's only another hour to Massachusetts. So we went into Boston. And it's like that in New England. Everything's close together. But keep in mind, I'm getting further and further away from my home, too. So by the time we hit Rhode Island, I really wanted to get Connecticut, too, because we were only an hour away.
Yeah, you're just there.
Yeah, it's an hour.
But we were like, it was getting dark, and it was 4.5 hours to get home at that point without Connecticut. So we turned around, and the thought of finishing it had not crossed my mind at that point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So at that point, you'd gotten 3? 4?
4.
Well, including yourself, yeah.
Right.
And one of the things that we had talked to HQ about, which is, well, how do we finish the GeoTours if one of the hides we can't find because it's part of our thing? And HQ does have, and this is for all GeoTours, by the way, in case you were wondering. HQ does have a clause that if you own one of them in a GeoTour, then they will obviously give you, because you can't find it yourself. So instead, they don't want you create, So anyway, so you get credit for that.
Yeah.
So you did those, and we won't spoil all the different ones. What were your initial thoughts on? So you found New Hampshire, and then Massachusetts.
Yep.
And then Rhode Island. Okay. So just that first initial wave through your initial pass through some Cache Odyssey hides, what were some of your initial thoughts about what everybody else had done at that point?
Well, I had seen little sneak previews here and there, obviously from our private Facebook page.
Yeah.
So I had an idea of what many of them were, but to see them in person, they were just exquisitely done, and the craftsmanship. And even though a few of them were library hides, each one was executed differently, and they had different solutions for finding the first waypoint outside the library and then searching through the library. I do have a funny story about the Vermont one.
Oh, okay. We'll get to
so there's a little math involved in that one, and I messed it up, and I was in the wrong section of the library. And so I'm scratching my head, and I went to the librarian, and there was a long line of people waiting, checking out books. And I said to her, I'm totally embarrassed by this. I said, I'm really having trouble with this. My math's not working. And I explained, she knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
She looks me in the eye, and she said, you need to go sit down and redo your math. Everyone in line burst out laughing. I turned red, and it was a silly little math error. Sorry, Captain Math.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
The Pennsylvania or the Vermont one.
That was Vermont. Yeah.
Vermont. Okay. Yeah. Because Tony's in the chat room. So
yeah.
I don't know what.
Yes, he met me at one of his caches. He knew I was coming into the area, and I told him that story. He had a good laugh about that too.
That's funny. Yeah. I'm not sure what is he doing that for? I'm trying to figure out. Why Tony did you post that? I don't know. But anyway, there he is. He's with us tonight. A lot of the cache hiders are with us tonight. So
yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Thanks to all of our Cache Odyssey hiders. God, there's a bunch. Owen's in. He says halftime, and he had to check in. So John, I don't know what he's talking about. So
yeah, I'm not sure, Gary. I've heard references to something else going on other than our podcast, but I'm not sure. I'm gonna probably check when we're done.
Yeah, I feel bad for what we're doing to their ratings tonight. We're probably crushing them, obviously.
Nobody share because we're trying to wait and watch.
Yeah, no scores.
Yeah, so he says when you called and asked me about the project. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I trained them well. That's what he said. So, yeah, very cool. So that's something that I was really impressed, like I said, with is just that everybody did something different almost. I mean, not completely, but a lot of people did very interesting. I mean, I had never thought about, the Georgia, Ann did a rocket out in front of out near the airport. It's out, it's just crazy. I mean, there was a lot of great ideas. So, oh wow, Judy's all the way in New Mexico. I'm tuning in from Roswell. Wow, I guess she's maybe going after the Cache Odyssey. New Mexico's out that way too.
She's just gonna get them all tonight. She's gonna just keep going.
Just keep going.
Yeah.
Is this how Judy's going to do it? Like, we're going to come on, we're going to say, like, hey, Nancy's first to complete a region. And then Judy tomorrow is going to say, like, hey, I completed all 50.
Apparently, Judy says she's got the New Mexico cache today.
Somebody will be first to get all 50.
There will be a person that finds all 50. And we do have a pizza party planned for anybody who finds all 50.
Yeah,
we will throw you a pizza party. Only the first person. We're not going to do it for everybody who gets 50, but we're going to get you a pizza party. So, Pathfinder 33, he's one away from Southwest. So he needs one for Southwest.
That is a hard one to get.
Yeah. Judy says it's not going to be her. So, you, at this point, you've got those, and you're looking at the Northeast region. I think it's 11. Is that right,
That's
Nancy?
correct.
Okay. So there's 11. So what was your next sort of thought as to, do I do these are we going to kind of, pick at them until we get all 11, or are we going to go beast mode? What was your thinking next?
My initial thought was to go beast mode, and I mapped it all out and presented it to my husband. And he informed me that he had something to do locally in town right in the middle of that trip that I had planned.
Oh, okay.
So that put the beast mode on the back burner.
Okay.
And what he did, good husband that he is he offered to drive me to New York and Vermont. So that was trip number 2.
Cool. So you kind of did, okay. The New York one is in a really weird place, and I don't know how that one even got approved. But
yeah, there's some mystery behind that one, because I think somebody pulled up the map and they looked at them and they're like, all the Cache Odyssey, like Northeast, are almost all in like a symmetrical like line almost.
Right.
And then it's like somebody said, like, you know what? Screw that. Let's put one like 8 hours away from like the next closest one.
It's almost as part of the next section, Cache Odyssey Canada. I think that New York one's almost there.
Yeah.
It's like 13 miles like south of the crow flies from the Canadian border, from what I understand.
See, they just got confused, is what happened.
Interesting. So knowing that the New York is not in a line, I guess, which is fine. That was the other thing. I think people are like, oh, look how close Mississippi and Louisiana are. That's really cool. It's like, we didn't plan any of that.
Yeah. No, not planned.
We just picked quality hiders. I didn't even know where most of them are. And so some of them worked out. Like I said, a lot of the Northeast is kind of along the seaboard there.
Right.
Not completely, but so you went and got New York, and what was the other one you got there? Oh,
Vermont,
that trip. Okay.
Vermont.
Then back home, and then at that point you're short 5?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep.
5. So then you're like, okay, we got to get the final 5.
Exactly. It was so close. Only 5 left.
So what was
the serious hours driving by this point, though?
Oh, yes. Yeah. The first trip was 435 miles. The second trip was 1250. And the third trip was 1250.
Cool.
I could have been more efficient, though, if my husband let me do it in one loop.
those spouses, I tell you, causing issues. So quick update, and we're going to get to the story about the final 5, but quick update. Somebody asked in the chat room about Kentucky. Kentucky should be published soon. Part of the holdup was that the reviewer is requesting additional verification, which is causing the verification to be slower. So that one is also, and there was some issues with construction, and so there have been several issues that have been surrounding the Kentucky. It's going to be published very soon. It's on, I don't know if I might get this wrong. I think it's on government property with permission, but the reviewer's like, I need like written permission.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, and you get that. Totally.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to sign off on that either without just, getting some actual.
Yeah. Nothing against the reviewer. I wasn't trying to, I'm not bashing the reviewer. I'm just saying this is what they requested.
Well, I would rather go slow and get them all right than have something negative happen to the tour, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Absolutely. Well, and I think this just shows the interest and enthusiasm on the tour. Because, I mean, just to think, like, I checked earlier, and it was like the Cache Odyssey, like all the caches had over 555 favorite points.
Oh, wow.
And we're talking like it's not even been like a month in since it published on that one. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. But just to think, too, and I don't know if you guys have checked out Project GC, What's Hot on there.
No, tell us about that.
Oh, man. If you're a Project GC user, you have to go to What's Hot. take a look at the map, and you're going to see all these letterboxes all around the country on that one, because those are the Cache Odyssey caches.
I love it.
Seriously, these are some of the most popular hot caches right now in the country in less than the month that they've been out there. So it's just been incredible, the response that we've had from people.
And you said 555 earlier today. It's already at 572.
Is it really?
Yeah.
572 favorites. We're not even a month in.
No,
that's incredible.
But, it's one of those things too. Not only are people going after them, each one of them, and as Nancy can tell us too, but we've all seen the pictures, right? Like we have. Each one of them is amazing. They're going to get favorite points on these caches because nobody phoned this in. They're all unique and fun. And outside of Cache Odyssey, they would get favorite points all alone. So absolutely, I think they should really rack that up and get like somebody mentioned earlier, the logs. And are we hitting the target audience? Is it more accessible to people? We won't know that kind of data for quite a while, but that's what we're excited to see in the future, right? Like find out that we're actually reaching people that we're trying to help.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Owen
we've already heard
some.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm going to say Owen says his made it onto the list. So nice. Owens is in Missouri. So Missouri, and that's the other thing. Missouri and Kansas are really close together. Some are close together, some are not. But that's sort of interesting. Somebody asked about. Good question, Quincy. Initially. They all started with the exact same stamp. Mm-hmm. Now, some people created an additional stamp, which was not a bad idea, and put them in the caches as well. I don't know. Did you create one, right, Nancy? Did you make a
lobster? Yeah. Of course.
So she created an extra, which was a great idea. So some people have. So there's some of the Cache Odyssey hides have two. And so, so that's really cool. I did some, and everybody kind of did their own thing. I did some special swag for the Texas one. I made a little Cache Odyssey sticker.
Oh,
and,
nice.
So there are a bunch of those in the container. So, it's interesting as an owner to see, people coming through and leaving great comments and actually got to see. I went over there. A couple folks came through. David from Team D&D and Ryan Simmel came through. They were on their way to Florida. Did you see them there?
Weekend. Yeah, I hung out with them this weekend. Yeah. Which, by the way, they weren't just on their way. First of all, that's not on their way.
That's not on their way.
From Kansas,
down
to Texas to pick David up, then to drive to Florida, and then they're going to drive back. I'm assuming they're driving back right now, but they're obviously not home yet.
Counties.
Yeah.
Florida, from Kansas to Florida by way of Texas. That's not how that works, by the way.
That's like a geocacher route,
Yeah, if you've seen a map, that's even crazy for a geocacher, though.
Yeah, but still, I was talking to like Big Guy the other weekend event, and he's just like telling me everything where he's going. He's like, well, if you're already at this state, why not go to a couple states over and grab those caches and swing on by?
That's geocacher logic right there.
Knowing those guys, they have found. I bet they were doing the same thing. Knowing David, especially, and both of them love the county, so they came through town. So I ran over to the museum and got to see those guys and talked to the folks that are working the museum, and they're just thrilled that so many people are coming through town from all over, and so that's really cool. So is that something too? And since you're a cache owner, Nancy, has anybody mentioned something like, hey, I'm from, if you had like international, or have you anybody come through for your cache there?
No one international yet, but there's been people who have been taking vacations. North Conway, New Hampshire is a popular tourist destination, and that's only about 10 miles from my cache. So we draw people from that area. But I have to tell you a quick story too about the manager of the visitor center and her coworkers there. They had never heard of geocaching before.
Oh my.
And I have a similar hide at another visitor center. So what I did was I had that woman contact the manager at this one to pave the way for me to put it in, so I didn't have to do a lot of explaining once I met her. And she was totally on board just from the feedback she received from the other visitor center. But both of them, the employees and the manager, have opened up geocaching accounts, and they've actually logged my cache, and they're very excited to find more caches.
That is awesome.
Wow, that's cool.
That is so cool.
We're hearing some great stories. Charles says that he's got Nevada, and he mentioned that he had a pair of Canadians find his on their way to Yuma, Calgary.
That's
pretty cool.
That's a trip. That's a serious trip right there.
That's incredible.
Wouldn't you like to know one day? There's no way to know the stat, but like Nancy, those two that you turned on to geocaching, wouldn't you like to have somewhere where you know that everybody that you've turned on to geocaching, like you would have a list of them, like all the people that you taught and they started geocaching? That'd be a great list to have.
Well, there was a time, I think, in the early days of geocaching where somebody, when they signed up for an account, could say who referred them.
Oh, wow.
And Groundspeak, I think, was tracking it. I didn't see any rewards from that program, but I did refer a few people because of that.
Wow, that's cool.
That would be neat to know. I wouldn't want a reward for it or anything, just to know, like, oh, these, somebody that you just happen to talk to, like if you could follow them or whatever, and like 5 years later, they're still caching. How cool would that be?
Yes.
Yeah, very true. A couple other comments, and then I want to hear how Nancy tackled the 5 that she had left. But a couple questions I wanted to cover. Yeah, Tony was kind of covered, but is there a stamp passbook available for download per region? Yes. Every cache Odyssey cache is part of one of the 6 GeoTours, and if you go look, there is a PDF file you can download with the passport for that. So I know some of the
geocacheodyssey.com, right, Gary?
You can go to geocacheodyssey.com and you can get all that information. Which, by the way, for those that love those kind of little nice items, cacheodyssey.com. Doug McCrae, our buddy who owns the Massachusetts Cache Odyssey, who also invented Ms. Pac-Man, which is crazy to think about, which is a great story. Love having Doug on. He's in Fiji right now, I think. And of course, he's all over which is great. Yeah. But he's updated the leaderboard. So there's a leaderboard, and which is also a crazy thing to think about. But right, Jesse, challenges. People love a challenge.
Oh yeah, put your name on a list or make a any kind of list. We will do a lot of silly things, right, Nancy?
I wasn't even thinking of that.
to check our name off of a list or to put one more point on that list. We're just those kind of people. That's who geocachers are.
Why would you put Nancy on the spot for that?
Nancy's on the spot for an hour. That's what she's on here for, because she did something crazy that nobody else has done yet. And it's a perfect example of how if you make a list out of something, people will complete it. If you make a challenge out of something, you can put any challenge in front of cachers, no matter how insane, people will do it because we're those kind of people.
Absolutely.
Right? Life's too short not to.
All right. So if you go here, the Cache Odyssey page, you can get the information here. And if you go to the Cache Odyssey GeoTour page, it does have all the GeoTours. There's the list of all the There's the map of all the GeoTours. Yes, it's strange. Yes, there have been hours thinking about this and talking about it, but this is what we went with. You can go to each one if you want to check out each one's passport. They're right there. But also, you can go up here and you can go to the leaderboard. And the leaderboard is right here. And the leaderboard is currently caches in the series 49. Yes, Kentucky should publish soon. Next week, we're really hoping. Favorite points 572, like you said. And what's cool is you get every state and the cache owner for every state. And Alaska, by the way, has been disabled. They've got to do some fixing of that one. A couple of them had some issues, which you can imagine. What do we always say, Jesse?
That's pretty normal.
We can't have nice things.
Yeah.
Hey, just like any cache, these require maintenance for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's Maine. Look at 50. You got 50, Nancy. That's incredible.
Nancy's killing it.
50. So
38 favorite points already.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Incredible. And then if you go down further, you get into the top finders of the Cache Odyssey series. Oh, look at this. Look who's at the top here. Who is this person? Look at that. 11 finds, and you're the only one with a GeoTour find so far. So, but it's kind of cool to see the list. Some people are close. I mean, I don't know if they're close or not, but they got 7. And
you don't even know that those are within the same GeoTour, though.
No, they're not. Right? They probably aren't.
Oh no, they are.
Are
The second, the second and third place are.
Oh, so they're chasing you.
Oh wow. We know Lola's dreaming Pathfinder 33. That's Charles and Laura. And then as you go down, Captain Mass got 7. He and I are going after a couple in a few weeks. We're going to go do Mississippi and Louisiana. Anyway, so then you get all that. And then he's got it broken down by region here, which is really cool. So these are the people who have done the ones in that region, which is really cool to see. And that's for each region. So East Central, got to pick it up. Poan's in the lead. She's got 3 of them. There's the South. Look, Ryan's up to, he's got 3 now. So does Team D&D. Nice. They got 3.
Because of that crazy trip they took.
I know. That's crazy. Anyway, there's the Midwest, the Southwest, Northwest, etc.
Oh man, I love how Doug like chunked it out by the different regions on that one.
I did too.
That is just so cool.
I love it. All right, back to Nancy and her story. So you had 5 left, and you had 5 left, and you had to kind of make a plan, I guess.
Oh yes.
To do the final group. How did you approach the final 5? And I guess we should ask too, because I know you found other caches along the way. Did you sort of use the Cache Odyssey ones as sort of a spot on the map, and then you worked around it, or did you find other caches at the same, or plan to find other caches along the route at the same time? Or how did you kind of approach the trips for that? You took one last trip, right, to get the 5? Correct. Okay. What was your thought about how to do those 5? And what else did you already have some of them in mind, or what was your thought process behind that?
So the challenging part of planning the trip in the Northeast is all the different hours.
Right.
Let's see, 8 out of the 11 are indoor caches, and they all have different hours. That factors into the plan. But the main priority was to hit the Cache Odyssey caches. Obviously, that was the purpose of the trip. And then the gravy was, I always look for high favorites, webcams, virtuals, earth caches along the way, and solve puzzles as well.
Right.
So that's pretty much how, and then of course you have to plan your hotel. So I have this formula that I build in an Excel spreadsheet where I allocate 5 minutes per cache wherever I stop, just a random number I chose. And then I can figure out where hypothetically I will land at 6 o'clock at night, say. So that's where I pre-planned the hotel in that area.
Right.
But things went amok a little bit on the third trip, but we can talk about that in a few minutes. due to Mother Nature.
Yeah. So that's the thing people don't, or maybe initially are not thinking about, which is the fact that, and I had a couple of people roll through town, and our museum is closed on Mondays. They're not open. And so we had a snowstorm recently, and not on top of that, which snowstorm for us is not something we are not prepared for a snowstorm.
Yeah, don't
at
try
all.
to steal our snow, Gary.
I know you can. Trust me, John. You can take all that back.
You can keep all the snow, huh?
You can keep all of it. I will mail it to you, sir.
Hey, even Florida got snow. Not
Florida
Ryan,
got
Florida got some snow too.
I'm sure up in the panhandle of Florida, they were snowed. I was crazy photos from that. But
people were actually driving from middle Florida up to northern Florida to see the snow.
Just to go, look at the snow. Yeah, that's how crazy us Southerners are. But again, something you've got to put in your plan, and this is what Nancy's talking about, which is whenever you're gonna go to do these, you got to determine they're not all outdoor. In fact, I would say, what do you think, Nancy? Probably the majority of them are probably inside, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and they're not 24/7. I mean, so planning is important. Determining when you're going to be at a spot, can you make it in time? That's key. Time. Some of the caches are going to take a little bit longer to do. Of the 5 that you had planned, did you have a general idea? Like you said, you were going to give 5 for each, but and you ran into an issue, which I want you to talk about too. But did you know ahead of time, based on previous logs about, or did you kind of assess looking at the description that, okay, this one's more of a puzzle and it's going to take longer, or did you kind of do some of that work too?
So the 5 per cache was for non-cache Odyssey caches.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. I didn't want to spend a lot of time on those because I wanted to keep moving to make sure I had enough time, at least a half an hour to 45 minutes at each cache Odyssey, just in case I needed it. And I did need that time for a couple of them.
Cool.
So that's why I did that. But the others, I was willing to let the others go if I had. And I did have to let a few go. I'm a county hunter as well. Yeah. And I lost, because of the storm, I lost out on the southeastern part of Pennsylvania counties. But I did finish New York as part of this trip, which is why you see my routing is zigzagged all over New York, because I had to grab those last 6.
Yeah.
Of course.
Behind her, she's got her map behind her.
And you did that during the lake effect snow warning, right?
Yes, I got to experience lake effect snow for the first time in my life.
Wow.
And, we had just watched the movie Fargo. And if you've seen that movie, do you remember the opening scene where the rental car is being towed down the highway and the swirling snow in the cornfields or on the side? That's exactly what New York's looks like, John.
Well, and fair warning to anybody coming for the one in New York, feel free to reach out to me for a weather report, because I know I've had a few people that have reached out. Because lake effect snow can be no joke. Including sometimes I know I'll send snapshots to Gary and Jesse to make them jealous of all the snow that we're getting.
Oh yeah, so jealous of it.
When it's like, hey, in a couple of days you'll be getting like 2 to 3 feet of snow. It's kind of par for the course here sometimes with their storms.
Well, it was funny too, because you knew I was coming and I hadn't reached out to you for weather, and he kept sending me texts. By the way, the storm's coming. It's bad.
And Nancy was like, even more of a challenge. I should do it.
Exactly. That is incredible. So, and that's something that, I guess sort of a bonus, the fact that, this time last year, nobody ever heard of Cache Odyssey because we didn't think about it till June, right? Jesse was like June.
Yeah.
So you were able to sort of include, like you said, you got to finish New York.
Mm-hmm.
And as you were looking, you sort of found some other gems out there for your trip, right? Some other caches that you were really happy to find.
Yeah, so I isolate all the high favorites, the virtuals,
Right.
etc., and then
Very
I
cool.
overlay them on my map, and I choose the ones that are along the route that I've got pre-planned.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, it works out well. I have a whole system.
So I'm assuming this is not your first major cache trip like this to do.
No, I do maybe one a year.
So, and I do the same thing. I do one major cache trip a year, but this one is a little different. So, and I think mainly because of the availability of the caches, like, I guess this one compared to old trips, what went right, what went wrong, and was most of that because of when you could get, you really had to time out when to get all these caches. Like what would you tell people? What is the difference? And what would you tell people that are planning their own crazy nut job trips around the country?
Well, the way I do it is I choose the places that I'm going to the top priority, which in this case with the Cache Odyssey. And then you factor in this case, the times that the establishments are open. And I map all this out, and that's how I choose which route I'm going to take, which is why when I took the third trip, I drove right by Connecticut's because I was driving through on a Sunday, and the library's closed on a Sunday.
Right.
But I caught that on the way back. But I needed to go as far west on the first day. So it was Delaware first, and then it was Maryland. But then I realized how big that storm was that was coming out from the Midwest, if you remember that, the end of the first week in January.
Right.
That big snowstorm. So it was going to hit Baltimore, where I was going to stay overnight, and I wouldn't have gotten out of town. So you're talking Baltimore traffic on a Monday morning after Christmas holiday. And they don't see that much snow normally, and they were expected to get 8 inches. So what I had to do is there was a webcam I wanted to do in Baltimore that I was going to do on the day of the snowstorm. Instead, I did it on my way out instead of on my way back. And that way I had to drive an extra 4 or 5 hours because I had to beat the storm and get back to New Jersey, which was not hit by the storm, even though I had trouble finding New Jersey snow.
Yeah, very cool that you were able to, do that. Different people targeting, different things is interesting. Jim he lives in Nebraska. He owns Cache Odyssey, Nebraska, and he's targeting the East Central region when he attends Gigastock, here in May.
That's going to be a funny stat jump because Gigastock is obviously one of the Cache Odysseys close to that. That one's going to jump up like
yes.
The fines on that one's going to be insane after that weekend.
I think Mark said it's, what did he say, John? It's like 10 minutes from the location of Gigastock. I think.
Yeah. So he says it's going to be like off the hook, which is cool.
It's in Morgantown.
Yeah.
And I just got to put out, actually, I think the next closest Cache Odyssey to Cache Odyssey New York is actually the one in Morgantown, believe it or not.
In West Virginia, right?
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here in a few weeks, I'm going to Bamarama, and somehow I got talked into a trip with Captain Math and his wife Joy. We're going to go to an event, hightail it out of there, drive all the way to Mississippi, get the Mississippi Cache Odyssey, drive down to Louisiana, get the Louisiana one, and race back to Bamarama in time for the evening event. So that's our plan.
That's awesome.
Is to do that. Yeah. Cool. So it'll be great. But that shows you, and I saw B Genius mentioned earlier about she's eyeing the South. So I think you're starting to see people looking for who talked to whom. I talked him into That's the way
I think that's more realistic.
I talked him into it, and so no, it'll be great. But I think a lot of people.
Can I ride in the trunk?
Yeah, exactly.
Are you going to be at Bamarama, Nancy?
No.
Oh,
I'll be home.
Cool.
But it's funny though how
I know what I'm trying to talk about it, but Bamarama is a really fun event. I just had to throw that in there, and I'm also jealous I can't go to that one either. But let's just move on. Let's move on.
Oh man.
But it's funny just how we as cachers, and it's sort of something that the rest of the world doesn't understand, is that we will go out of our way. We were doing that on Wednesday, Amy. In case you want to come with us, you're more than welcome.
You're gonna end up having like 20 people go and do this crazy run.
Probably. That's okay.
That is so much fun. Those impromptu group caching things like that. Yeah,
I told Nicole about it. She's not sure she can get to town in time. That's the kind of it's all planning. But
no, this weekend she sure sounded like she was going to do it. So
yeah, well, that's awesome. If she did, that'd be perfect. But
that's too much fun. I'm jealous. Bamarama's canceled too. Cancel Gigastock. Cancel Bamarama. I'm jealous.
Oh man, Jesse, you got the first block party in North America, man. You're doing pretty good.
Yeah, I hate to spread this news, but I heard Gigastock is really going to be block party stock. They're not going to go get it.
No. That is completely false. Do not believe that, man.
It's true. I heard it.
No,
straight from somebody. Signal told me this weekend. He was there.
Signal.
No.
Signal told me. He's like, hey.
But it's funny though, as we talk about this, is that all the serious cachers now are out there going, let me look at the map real quick and take a look. That's what Nicole's like. Okay, now let me see now. Where is that one? Okay. The Texas one is about 4 hours from the Oklahoma one. So, okay, 4 hours. Okay, we're playing that. So you got these, these little plans that people are making, to do. And it is kind of, other than New York, but there are, you could kind of make because right? Again, you have to know when they're open, but you could string together like Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and go up the line to Maine. That'd be like could you do that line if everything's open? Could you do that line in a full day, do you think, Nancy? Or
yes. Oh, okay. Absolutely. Yep.
If traffic held up.
Yeah, just don't drive through Boston other than grab the Boston cache.
I'm sure there's somebody out there that's going to figure out one route to do all of the contiguous anyway, all 48.
Yeah.
Not that you can actually do it, but somebody will figure out the route for doing it anyway.
Yeah. I started to put that in Cache Tour because I use Cache Tour a lot.
You need to do it.
And Cache Tour kind of freaked out about trying to do this massive amount. I need to learn more, and the Cache Tour folks love Cache Tour, and I need to give them an email and say, hey, here's a list. How do I get these in here without Cache Tour going? When I try to do it,
bookmark list,
it blew up.
Charles has a bookmark list put together for it.
Yeah, I have that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, they have it already. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Well,
so Charles already got them all.
Charles, you need to report to us to tell us how many days and hours this would take.
Yeah,
we need to know.
Mine died on me, so Struck 2 says you can do it in GSAC. Yeah, you could do it in GSAC too.
GSAC, yeah.
I'm curious to know, how long it would. Not that we would ever do that, but it's kind of interesting to.
It's still interesting to know.
It'd be interesting to know how to do all 48. How long would it really take you to do all 48?
Because people have done all 48 states in like 10 days.
Yeah.
But they're not stopping to cache, and they're not going to specific points in the state like that crazy one in New York that's all out of whack. They're going.
Yeah. Whoa.
I mean,
at least though, the one in New York, I got to add on this one. It's an outside cache. So you do not have to wait for
do it any time of the day. So there's the advantage.
Yeah. So you can swing by beautiful Western New York, get your pickle pizza, get your buffalo wings,
Get your Canadian passport stamped, whatever, get it done.
No, if you want to take a slight detour, you could.
Hey, I didn't get pizza.
Oh man.
Oh,
that's the one thing I regret, Nancy.
What happened?
After you left, because I was getting out of work, and I go, Nancy, when are you coming? And I was like, I will come right when I get out of work to see Nancy. So I did. And afterwards, like, the only thing, like, the regret is, like, I should have stopped by and picked up some slices of pickle pizza.
I said to my husband, he said he was going to bring pizza to whoever came to his cache.
Pizza Ninja.
We skipped a meal just for pizza.
Oh man, now I'm feeling horrible.
You should. You're the pretend ninja now. You're not even the pizza ninja anymore.
They suggest you mail her a pizza now.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have
right.
to. Yeah.
We got to have some kind of prize for Nancy, though. I mean, she's the first one to finish the GeoTour. We got to come up with some kind of prize.
Oh yeah, well,
got to. There's never going to be another first person to finish a GeoTour.
No.
We'll need GeoTour the thing.
And I got to add, Nancy was not only the first to complete a region, but Nancy was a rock star hider, because I mean, her cache is awesome. I think it has the most favorite points out of anybody in the series right now. Nancy had an awesome welcome event to kick things off. Nancy created even some incredible path tags that not only has she put in her cache, but in other Cache Odyssey caches, believe it or not, too.
That's awesome.
That are really popular. So, I mean, hats off to Nancy. I mean, we knew the group of hiders that we have were all-star hiders, but I mean, Nancy just rocked it,
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Great job, Nancy. All right.
Oh,
we're coming to the end.
I think this is more of a punishment than a prize, but Charles has offered up a calendar. And if you don't know what that is, don't ask. Don't ask. You
don't want to know. You don't
ask what that is.
No.
Because he may give you one.
We can give you a tiara would be great. We'll get her a crown.
That's right. I think we're gonna have to have a page on Cache Odyssey for like the cool stats, like first hider to finish a GeoTour, first non-hider to finish a GeoTour, first person to finish 2 GeoTours. We're gonna have to do all that.
That'd be cool. We
have to come up with like a weird, wacky stat page, because there's gonna be some weird stats that come out of this, because we're stat people, right? So James
says to you, Nancy, way to go.
He's one of my local cachers.
That's awesome.
Thanks Jim.
Thanks for with us, Jim. Appreciate you, buddy. Yep. Everybody's giving you a high five. All right. As we're wrapping up, we'll kind of go around the room, do final thoughts, and we'll let Nancy go. We'll let her wrap things up tonight. So, I guess I'll start and just say, first off, again, thank you so much to all of our hiders. They are all rock stars.
Yes.
We've had some issues. We've had one that was muggled, that's being replaced. We've had people break stuff already. So we can't have nice things. And we ran into some issues in a couple of the caches, but the owners of those caches are getting them all fixed. So it is what it is. We know that's going to happen. And so I am thrilled with everyone. All the hiders have done a great job. They've been patient with us, and we are so grateful to them. Thank you, Nancy, so much for hiding the one that you did. And thank you so much for coming on tonight and talking about the crazy trips you took. So
you're welcome.
Yep. John or Jesse?
Yeah, I'll go next. Yeah, on this one. Yeah. Thank you again, Nancy. I mean, and just seeing all of your pictures of your trip in the Cache Odyssey Hiders group was just awesome, to see all of those. Because, I mean, just to get a glimpse more into your adventure that you had and all the places that you went, those were just so really cool. And I wish we had more time tonight to dig more on that one, because just to see some of the sites along the way that you shared, some of the souvenirs you got as well, too, and some of your experiences in some of those other caches, those were just awesome. So thank you again.
I obviously our number one goal with Cache Odyssey is and was to kind of spread the awareness that, T1 caches can be creative and awesome. They don't have to be pill bottles, and they don't have to be boring. They can be awesome, and people can do it. And, and there's a way to make awesome caches. You're not watering it down. You're making them awesome. They can be awesome caches of any type, right? That was the number one goal. But the number two goal, or the secondary benefit, I guess, is we know things like Cache Across America and Jasmer and 50 states. And Strek 2 brought this up. According to GSAC, from Manchester, New Hampshire, it would take 268 hours and 13,726 miles. So that's an insane thing to even say, right? But I think the secondary benefit of this project is that for a lot of people that have done a lot of other things, there's not very many milestone things that you can do in geocaching, right? If you've been around for 15, 20, 25 years now, and if we've added something new to the landscape that people can work on for years, that's awesome. That's great. That's a whole, your 50 states, your HQ, ET, Jasmer, Fizzy, all those things.
It's only 11 days, Jesse, by the way. In case
there you go. That's with no sleeping, by the way. But
and that's not stopping to actually find it.
But if we get to add something like that, where people get to, I want to do this if I can try, and they set new adventures and stuff like that, that's an awesome secondary benefit. That's not even the number one goal. That's a secondary benefit. And if we get to add something like that, even this discussion tonight, it took her 3 trips and like hundreds and hundreds of miles. And I don't even know what in gas money and probably some bargains she had to make. Like, honey, please, this is actually a legitimate thing to do. This is not insane. Like some negotiating. That's awesome. That's a secondary benefit of this project. And I love it. I'm excited. And I love to hear this story tonight because it was fun. And they're not all going to go perfect, right? Like you're going to have a snowstorm, or you're going to have things going to be closed, or you get rained out. But that's those things that keep us going, right? Like just like this weekend, I talked to everybody else, new fun things, recycling, and you add something new to the game that you can really work on. And Nancy, I just really appreciate you coming on and like getting people excited about this and showing that it's possible. And you're the very first one to get the very first souvenir of this project that we hope is going to live on for many, we started 3 years. We intend for it to stay on forever. Right. So
yeah,
you're the very first person to get a souvenir in this, and that's cool. I love it. So
my husband told me I have a souvenir that no one else in the world has right now.
You do. Right. You do. Oh, who's dry? Who's really dying about that?
Doug.
Oh. He's dying about that right now. He's got like more souvenirs than everybody. He's got everything, and you beat him to a souvenir.
Oh man! Send him a picture and go, huh, Doug? I know you've got a lot of.
You got this one? Oh, you don't, do you?
You've got like
40 think about that. That is an awesome thing to say.
Yep.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way till he said those words the other night.
Yeah.
And obviously, before you start, we have to ask this question too.
Of course. Never ends.
We'll turn it all over to you now. It's all you.
I can't say it live because my husband might be watching, but
yeah. I understand that. I got you. I'm there with you.
Nothing in the works right now.
Okay. All right. Thoughts on this pretty cool accomplishment? What do you think? Was it worth it?
Oh, absolutely. I would do it all over again.
Don't say that. He is listening for sure now.
Oh, thank you for the congratulations.
You bet.
Well, for those of you that do trips, I mean, you get it. I know my mother-in-law thinks I'm crazy, and she just does not understand. But I know you guys do, so I've got my people here. It's great.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. You've got the other crazy people here listening. So,
yeah. So what are some other your I guess give us a little bit of your thoughts just about the whole project, maybe the whole national project as well. What are some things that come to mind for you when you think about it?
So the excitement of finding a regular or large size special cache that is unique, and there's been a lot of thought and craftsmanship put into these. It's beyond thrilling for me.
Yeah.
I try to craft some of my caches, so I know the work that goes into these, and what I've seen on that Facebook page outside of the Northeast tour has just been amazing. And I just can't wait to visit them.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, awesome. I agree completely. Well, we're at the end tonight. We appreciate so much everyone who was on tonight. Thank you, chat room, for all the great comments. And obviously, Nancy, thank you for being our guest tonight. It was a lot of fun. And looking forward to hearing more from everybody. And we'll see you next week. A little short note, and that is in 2 weeks, we do take a break. We don't do a show on Super Bowl Sunday in the U.S. for all of our international folks, just to let you know. It's treated pretty much like a holiday in the U.S. for a lot of people.
It is. It's a holiday. Come on.
For those who don't watch the show, there's a lot of incredible commercials for all the commercial fans. And other than that, there you go. So a lot of great comments. Thanks, everybody. And we'll see you. I think, there's no third Tuesday show. So we'll see you next Sunday.
Yep.
So good night, everybody.
Good night.
Take care, everybody.
May your finds be many, and your DNFs be few. May the terrain and difficulty both be less than 2. And whatever it is you're looking for, may it find its way to you. And may we all meet again.
Folks, we hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. Please email us your comment at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The show can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Radio Public, or Spotify, as well as at the Geocache Talk website. Don't forget to click that subscribe button below and ring that bell notification so that you can see and hear the show on a weekly basis. And tell your friends about the show. Get them involved with us in the chat room. And until next week, don't just talk about geocaching, go geocaching.